what is the actual deal with Fuji? If you've been paying any attention to the photography industry in the last, 12 months, you'd know that all the eyeballs are on Fuji right now. There's the camera that everyone except me has, which is the X100V. There's other options such as the X-T4, the X-T30 Mark II, and the camera which we have with us today, which is the Fuji X-T5. I'm waiting. Put it in my pan. Beep. Why am I holding it? Fuji sent me this body to test out and give my 2 cents on, but they aren't sponsoring this video, okay? In fact, this video is actually sponsored by Track Club, but more on that a little later. Instead of boring you with all the specs of this camera, I'm just gonna tell you off the bat that this camera on paper is pretty good. But it definitely leans a lot heavier onto the photography side of things, which isn't a bad thing. You see, all the other camera brands out there are so focused on making every single camera perfect at both photo and video, but that's not Fuji's mentality. That is not their focus. So what is? People love Fuji because it's, well, classic. It brings photography back to its roots and makes shooting fun again. It's tactile with manual dials and controls that make you feel like you're using a film camera. It comes built with a ton of film simulations, and above all else, the design looks cool. It's kind of reminiscent of a film camera. Not even kind of, it is. Now, shooting with a camera like the X100V or really any Fuji, it has like a cool hipster factor to it. So there is a type of person that shoots Fuji. In my humble opinion, it's for someone who not only appreciates like aesthetic, but also the overall art of photography itself. They could be an intermediate or advanced skill level, but if advanced, this Fuji is absolutely not the only camera in their arsenal. And I'll touch on why that is in a second, but people reach for Fuji because they're just fun to shoot with. When you're shooting with a Fuji, the pressure is off. You're having fun, you're on vacation, shooting on like city streets or something, and it's unlikely that you're reaching for a Fuji for a magazine cover shoot, for example. Unless, of course, you're looking at the medium format GFX lineup, which is strictly for industry professionals. You can see based on the price. Fuji knows this, okay? They're not even trying to compete with the Sonys or Canons by making these super photo video beasts. They're leaning into the fact that Fuji has a history in film, so they're taking advantage of the nostalgia and bringing that back to you in digital form. For me, this is where I might lose you guys, okay? I wouldn't choose it. One moment, please. This video is brought to you by Track Club. Track Club is a new music licensing site that is game-changing. Instead of just listing off all the sick features that Track Club has, let me just run you through a scenario, okay? Here's what Track Club looks like. Okay, so you need a song for a video you're working on. Let's say the mood of your video is empowering, and you want something to like medium-high energy. Now, I'm not too concerned about genre instruments, but we do have that here if we want it. I could also sort by arc, which is sort of like the journey the song takes. Now, this is really helpful for if you know how your video timeline is gonna look. Does it build? Does it get quiet at one point? Is there suspense? That's your arc, okay? And I can sort by length of track and beats per minute. Awesome. So I found this song called Woman, and this is what it sounds like. I really like it, but how many times have you found yourself saying, I wish there was a little less drums, or I wish there was a vocal only version for this part of the song? Fear not, for Track Club has your back. Press this little button over here and go into the Mix Lab. Here you'll see a breakdown of all the stems for that song, which you can fully customize to your liking. So if you want a little less drums, just turn down the volume a little bit. You don't want any bass at all? No problem, just press the mute button. And what if you just want the vocals? Press the solo button here and boom. Now when you're done customizing the track, you can click over here and download your song in either WAV or MP3 format, or you can even download all the individual stems, which is, it's like they heard what we wanted and then gave it to us. The Mix Lab feature alone is something that separates Track Club from the competition. They have a couple of different plan options as well, one for individuals when you're making content for your own channels, and one for businesses or if you're a freelancer making content for other clients. If you want to check out more of what Track Club has to offer, then check out the link in the description below. And now, back to the video. Now, I'm a very logical and efficient shooter, okay? I don't like how slow I am with all of the dials on the X-T5 and with the X100V, and I just kind of want a full frame sensor. Wait, doesn't Chris have one right now? He does. Overall, I just feel limited with the X100V, whereas I get way more bang for my buck with the Sony a7C that's more geared towards both photo and video. The size and the price are comparable with the X100V, and the a7C then has interchangeable lenses. So I just don't really understand why I would choose the X100V for me. But let's just get this straight, okay? That's just my opinion. Doesn't mean that's necessarily the same for you. And with the X-T5, the specs are comparable and actually favorable compared to like a Sony a7 IV. It does have more megapixels and shoots at a higher resolution, except it's still APS-C, still has the dials that I personally don't like, and still doesn't have a headphone jack or a full-size HDMI. However, the X-T5 is significantly less expensive with all that said. For some people, these suit their needs perfectly, okay? And let's face it, they like the style of Fuji. I actually had a heated debate with Josh, my editor, this past week about the same thing, and he was saying that he would choose the Fuji X100V any day over the Sony a7C purely for its tactility and design. And that just doesn't make any sense to me, but hey, to each their own. All that being said, these Fuji cameras are incredible. There's no denying the fact that they have a chokehold on the industry right now, and for valid reasons. They understand their consumer, and their cameras produce stunning images whose style is very sought after right now. Now, in the future, I can see future iterations of the X100V and X-T5 having even more impressive specs where the line between other big players in the industry gets even more blurred than ever. And honestly, that would be incredible. As a travel photographer, filmmaker, YouTuber, influencer person, sometimes the camera itself is part of my content. So to have a really cool looking piece of equipment in addition to all the specs I need, that would bring world peace. Let's summarize this into one little package now, okay? You're buying a Fuji because of the experience that it offers you as a creative person. The specs are there, yes, but that's not 100% why you made the decision to buy it. It's because it's fun, it's tactile, it's your aesthetic, it's part of your persona, okay? Don't lie. For me, as a strictly logical and efficiency-focused shooter, I'm just gonna stick with Sony. But I have to admit, these are really beautiful. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a like down below, subscribe if you're not already, and hit the notification bell to get notified for all future videos. If you hated my opinion in this, please drop it low in the comments and I probably won't read it. This is a pretty camera though. See you in the next one.